not everyone is as brave as I am, and I factor that in my judgment when I said people are damned on November 9th, 2021. Okay, I said people are cut off from heaven, and now it's only a matter of how much they're punished. Okay, in Matthew 10, Jesus said in the Bible that he came to bring a sword to divide. Okay, so those of you who are from families who want to assimilate to neocolonialism, be controlled opposition, be law enforcement, military, be in the gangs they control, which is, from what I gather, all gangs by now, be in the corporations, find your life in this world, be one of their cultures, be a jock, be a nerd, be a thug, be whatever, cultures they control. You don't want to give that up and be morally precise. Okay, and if your family members, you don't want to give that up. You have to let them go and obey God through me, even though you're not going to go to heaven at this point. Now I know, almost certainly, nobody's going to obey God through me, but you're at least going to understand better why you're all damned in hell and your offspring are damned and you shouldn't have had any kids. So me personally, if I was in your shoes, I'd scramble to obey God through me and to rally to me, because it's the right thing to do. It's the logical thing to do. And being less disgraced before God is still the better option than finding your life in this evil rape called world, where rape by deception rules the planet, okay? Where they get people behind the scenes, fraternities, gangs, military, police, to run trains on people and rape and abuse them and coerce them and force them into marriages, force them into colleges, which leads to marrying their sick network, which is basically everyone else at this time. But just because everyone else is helping them do it doesn't mean they're not raped by coercion, forcing people to date a certain way to create a certain society for social engineering. They joke about suggestion and magic arts and social engineering, right? Magic, chaos, magic, quote unquote, what they call it, magic tricks, kind of, we took off her bra without her knowing. There's videos like that. It is a very sick society. Think about what it takes to have porn. Porn is a play on words for enrope, R-O-P, without the E, and rope. And also we can get reap and rape, because it's like in Egypt where it would just put R-P instead of R-A-P-E. So that vowels can be added, taken away, interchangeable, what have you, right? Anagrams, right? Occult cut-ups, wordplay. That's part of their philosophy. Whether that language was made for that purpose already, okay, or whether they are just occultists and corporations that have corporate partnerships that kind of said, hey, if you're in our crowd, you can be part of the corporate partnership kind of thing. And if you're from their bloodlines and what have you, rich family, neo-colonialist bloodlines, okay, or not, that's still how it is. So porn itself is a play on words for rape. And look at the massive amount of porn, and look how people kind of willingly make themselves porn stars, sending naked pictures and doing naked art and so on and so forth. Okay, it's a form of that nudity, porn. It's all kind of neo-colonialist scum convincing you to be a whore. There's varying degrees of being a whore, and all a porn star is a whore on camera. So when you behave like a whore and you don't serve God, okay, instead you behave like a whore and you take naked pictures, you're like a porn star in your own right. And you've been raped mentally and spiritually and morally and so on and so forth, romantically. So, quote unquote, because moral, mental, spiritual, and romantic are related, okay? And they've turned you out into a whore. And they have monarch programs, sex kitten program, there's various programs that they have historically to experiment on individuals and groups to then apply it to the masses of the people. Okay, there isn't a technology that they released that they didn't consider the effect it's going to have on the culture. So there's cultural control at every turn: marketing, technologies, mind control, psychology, technologies of control, and so on and so forth. And obviously the people in charge, and you have to be nuts to miss it, have proven that they are lunatics. Their bloodline have some kind of hereditary mental illness that refuses to give up their ill-gotten gains, and they bred the planet to this abhorrent state where I, the most righteous guy ever, am shunned for righteousness. You don't hear anyone talking the way I am these days, okay? And if they talk anything close to that, you see that they're controlled opposition. So why would women choose these guys that are obviously tricking them into bed and abusing them and won't man up and address the rape issue in truth and won't man up and be morally precise over me, right? Obviously they're fucked in the head. That's like choosing little kids. That's worse than choosing little kids, little babies, over an adult. When you choose people who are evil in a calculated manner and have, adults, who have chosen a lifestyle of evil over he who has chosen good. It's like choosing your rapist who's a serial killer. It's like those idiots who dated Manson and so on and so forth. Okay, they don't use their heads. So why aren't women using their heads when dating? Because they've been bred to be dumb. You know, everyone else basically has, and they've been bred to choose rape over death. Look at Juliet. She chose death over a lack of love, and God is love in the story. Okay, and obviously there's people who kill themselves for romantic issues all the time. Okay, for right or wrong, right? But pure, true love from God is not. Is worth dying for. It's not worth living without. Okay, so whether you live in a rape society or everyone just fucking refuses to have love and their erotic desires scum, but they spill it out for you, and everyone just, without being tricked so much, just decides to be fooled in a basic way, you know, just by being a fool, choosing to be erotic desire. Okay, it's not worth living on this planet. When they insist, like they have with me, they have been causing me physical brain in my in my brain, physical pain recently, right? They've stepped it up, right? They fume me, they mess up my eyes, they cause me physical pain. And it's that provocation, it's that evil, right? So they can pretend they're the good guys. Colonists love that, you know. They loved it with the black guy in American history, with the Native Americans, right? They said they did this to us, so now we're gonna rape and kill him. This black guy did this, we're gonna rape his wife and fucking hang him, right? That's what they do. They lie as large groups of people, right? The Klan in them was the whole small town, the whole city, and so on and so forth. It wasn't just a few racist white guys. This is their culture, okay? And it was the white, Jew, and LGBT community. These LGBT people didn't just pop up overnight. They were raping slaves and Native Americans, you know, in an anal manner, okay? This is the situation. There's a massive amount of pedophiles in the church, and part of that is to push the gay agenda. And women are choosing these guys and their allies, people aligned who've yoked themselves to mass murdering, mass rapists, when there's 9 million people that starve to death every year. Even if you don't know those statistics, okay, you still see it in them. So they're not right when they look at somebody who's aligned, who's accepted the culture of the oppressor, okay, and they say, hey, I'm a jock, hi, I'm waving an American flag or whatever. They're a skater. They've accepted one of these cultures of being an arrogant, oppressor, pagan dog. And they're like, hey, I'll marry him, I'll date him, okay? And they're looking at the most righteous guy that ever lived because of focused moral intensity. And they say, well, I'm not allowed to talk to you. Well, that's why I said in Matthew 10 and other places, Hebrews, you're supposed to put God first, and you're supposed to cut off your family for not being righteous. So those members of my family who did not obey God through me in time, who conformed to the world, I've cut off on the highest level. I've sentenced everyone outside the divine order, except for me and my parents, to hell. Now it's just a matter of how much they suffer for their misdeeds and their mistakes, right? Mistakes. For their complicity with rape by deception, for their unwillingness to tell the truth and carry their cross. How much are they going to suffer now? Because there's no excuse at this point to still be alive and not obeying God through me. So whoever's around in 2021 with an abundance of evidence that the world is evil and there's no hope, and they're still doing their will, is so evil, their heart is so callous, so unfeeling, so dark, so wicked, that they don't deserve to go to heaven even if they try to repent right now. Because that's how evil they are. Think about it.